what made you put the fear in people saying, if you're trolling Ernie, don't troll Ernie? You and Ghost both, had it live on it and saying, people stay away from Ernie. And
Angelo went up on Mama T's panel a little bit earlier, and for everybody catching the replay and everything like that, what up, Kenny Ken, lurking? Angelo 100% is telling the truth. I can't tell you exactly because I don't have paperwork proof at the moment to show you guys, but I can tell you that if you guys are, even if I've got hate watchers in here, what up, Becky? Even if hate watchers are in here right now, you guys need to stop supporting Ernie, because there are things that are going to happen that if you value anything in your life, now is the time for you to step away from Ernie, because there are things out there that you do not know. There are things out there that if you did know, you would definitely be separating yourself from Ernie. Like I said, I can't tell you. I don't have paperwork proof. If I told you, it would just be word of mouth, and I'm not doing that bullshit. But I can tell you that there are things coming later down the road for Ernest Mac Shell. From the sheriff himself, there are things coming. And if you keep running, Ernie, if you keep running, the end goal for them will be to lock you up for life if you keep running. If you don't stand up like a man and say, this is what I did, this is what I didn't do, this is how things went, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I personally, Max, I believe there's probably about 5 people in total that know what I'm talking about. Everything Angelo said is 110% accurate. He is correct in his statement. When Angelo said, do not support Ernie, do not send him money, do not do this, do not do that, or eventually you will be wrapped up in it. He is 100% correct. Speaking of Angelo, Viper says, I'll be announcing a reward of $5,000 cash for the arrest and conviction of Ernest Mac Shell. Arrest, capture, conviction. This is serious, guys. This is turned from Ernie running from the law to something very, very, very serious. If he knows your address, lock your door. If he knows where you live, if you're home by yourself, make sure your doors and your windows are locked. Tweet, I can just tell you that if anybody is involved, other than the couple individuals that are still involved with Ernie, if you are emailing him, trolling him, any sort of type of way, step away right now. Please back away and go troll somebody else. I will give you names to troll if you want to troll somebody else, and you can go troll them. Stop trolling Ernie. You're going to get yourself mixed up into something that you do not want to be mixed up in. This is bad, guys. Please, if you're home by yourself, lock your... This ain't... Not even talking about him traveling, Kimmykins. A whole different subject. Something entirely different. But I do need you guys to make sure that if you're home by yourself, you lock your doors. If you're out on your, if you're out late one night walking down the street, make sure you're looking over your shoulder. Be aware of your surroundings. At this point, Ernie is a loose cannon. At this point, we have to protect our families and ourselves from what inevitably could happen. If a mod could grab Mama T's link, and if you want to drop Mama T's link in chat, Viper went up and just basically kind of said what I'm saying right now, except with a little bit more conviction, I think, in my personal opinion. Yes, I said that. The danger is real. The danger is very real. This isn't a joke anymore. It's not a troll. I'm not coming up here honey dicking. This isn't anything like that. Yes, Viper didn't say anything bad at all. He spoke 100% facts. And he says now he's going to put his money to the right use. And I think, Viper, once word gets out, I think you're going to have a lot of other individuals willing to contribute to that. That being said, guys, I care for a lot of you in my community. I want you guys' I think about your safety, so please be aware of your surroundings. Make sure that I can't say crispy. Not right now. Like I said, I don't have paper proof. If I had paper proof, I'd be going live right now, and you guys we'd all be sitting here knowing exactly what. Yeah, just know that it's bad.
What was the question? Because my investigation that him and Sweet Katie launched it to me was closed probably 5 days after it was open. So what's the questions?
Okay, so the question was, the one that I seen was that Ernie said that your investigator found him to be true. Is that true?
That is not what Detective King said. What Detective King said was that Ernie and another party, I'm assuming was Sweet Katie or somebody associated with, submitted documentations from Ernie's side to show that Ernie did all of these jobs or whatever. And as far as the cop was concerned, he wasn't going to investigate any of that because to him, it wasn't part of the argument. The argument that Ernie and his associate was making was that Angelo, forged his signature committing fraud in order to obtain his military records, which he claims are false records. Let's keep that in mind. So the detective suggested that Ernie and I have a conversation with him facilitating it. And that's what happened.
Right.
We had a conversation, and at that time, Ernie even said to the detective he didn't believe I was the one that forged it. And then on video, Ernie said he didn't believe I was the one that forged it. So that time, the case was dismissed and closed. But I kept to my agreement to not continue to go after him, because that was the agreement I made. And what kind of a person would I be if I didn't keep that agreement? I'll say good evening to everybody, including Ernie. How you doing?
Doing good.
So about mid-morning, 8:30, 9:30, I got a call from a detective that had been contacted by Ernie Shell. Ernie had filed a report, very extensive report actually, and the detective wanted to speak with me. And after about 3 hours of back and forth with the detective and actually meeting with him in a small hot room in person, he had gone over some documents that Ernie had sent him and had verified them through whatever sources that the detective had. And that includes some things that I have claimed were false, in some sense of fashion false. One of them was the Trump Tower thing. And let me clarify what I mean by this. I am not in any way saying that Ernie worked directly for the Trumps. I'm saying that Ernie performed the task of security through an agency for Trump Towers, just as he did at the Kyle Rittenhouse trial for an agency. And I'm familiar with those agencies because I've worked with those agencies and they pay very well, so you'd be a fool not to take the contracts. They are typically contracts that range anywhere from 15, 20, 30, 45, 60, 65, 90, up to a year in length. They do require extensive backgrounds. They do require to have some tactical sense and technical knowledge, whether it's with weapons or hand-to-hand combat. All the certifications that Ernie had sent to the detective were vetted by the detective and were proven to be correct. So I stand corrected on those things. It was then told by the detective that both Ernie and I were being stupid. We were both smart, stubborn individuals that when we sink our teeth into something, we don't want to let it go. And for that, he suggested that we have a conversation. So with the detective's directive, we had a conversation because the last message I'd gotten from Ernie and I had respected was to no longer contact him and to leave him alone. And I did. The detective reached out to Ernie, bridged the communication, and then Ernie and I had our discussions. And in order for us to have the closure, Ernie wanted some stuff from me, and I wanted one specific thing from Ernie. And that was the agreement that we had made. So far, so good, Ernie?
You got it.
Whether we like it or not, Ernie has a bail bonds license. I don't know how that operates in Tennessee, if it makes him a bounty hunter or however it works. I'm not familiar with any of that stuff, but he is a licensed bail bondsman, whether we like it or not. And bail bonds do get access to specific systems, much similar, not as extensive, but similar to police, that allow them to do their tracing and tracking of individuals that are coming up on whatever warrants or whatever needs that they need for that. I have no control over that. I also have no control over stolen valor. And I say stolen valor in a way that it's mostly a federal crime, and all I can do is report it. Whatever happens federally is what happens federally. At this point in juncture, nobody really takes the stolen valor stuff seriously enough to do anything about it. So I'm at an impasse. I have spent thousands of dollars, time, pain and suffering, mental anguish, and just a bunch of resources that could be better spent somewhere else. And to be honest with you, all Ernie and I would be doing when we go to court is spending thousands of dollars for a judge to tell us the same thing that this detective told us for free, which is shut the fuck up, do your handshake, come to an agreement, and walk the fuck away. The agreement that Ernie and I came to was me stating these facts from a detective. If you guys don't like the facts, I suggest getting your own detectives and having them do the same thing. But it's my detective. It's my detective telling me that this information is accurate. So why would my detective lie to me? It's not Ernie telling me this information. It's a detective telling me this information. So I have no other avenues to go. What I will state, and Ernie can correct me if I'm wrong, the detective did verify that I did not forge his signature. Correct? Thank you.
Yeah.
I did not forge his signature. That battle, if he wants it, is with another agency, and that's for them to figure out if they want to do it.
It was forged, but the chances are not by Angelo. That's exactly what the detective said.
Yes, and that was based on the evidence that both Ernie submitted and I submitted. Okay, so really the detective's suggestion was that we come to some sort of an agreement. And I had a discussion with Ernie. We talked for, I think with the detective was like 3 hours, give or take, altogether. And then with Ernie for about an hour, maybe all combined. And for me, with Ernie, it's the military stuff. I don't have any sweat inside of this child predator hunting stuff. I don't involve myself in stuff. Nobody will find me involved in that stuff. I don't do the missing children thing. I'm not in any of that. That's not my wheelhouse. And I asked Ernie, I said, will you agree under the law the way a veteran is described, will you agree to go on the camera and say that you, under the law, are not a veteran? And
Because of the time.
not just the timing, just everything all together. It's not to detract that he did sign a contract, folks. He signed a contract. He did something that still 1% of the population does. And for whatever reason, it didn't finish. I can't investigate that. I have no clout. I have no ability to get information that just is not available to me. So with that said, Ernie and I came to the agreement. I made my post. He's supposed to make a post, and then we're supposed to do this panel with Katie. At the same time, I also told him I have no control over what these people are going to say or do outside of that. My focus was the military. I have no other sauce inside of the game of any of the other stuff that goes on with Ernie, with Ernie's crew, with Ernie's people, with my people, and I'm not involved in any of that stuff. I'm done battling somebody that I have hit a wall with. And it's happened before numerous times with other people that I fought online. You get to a point where you're either going to just mentally and psychologically hurt each other until somebody takes it to court, and you're going to spend time and money in court for a court to basically tell you the same thing that we all as adults should know, which is at some point, let the fuck go and move the fuck on. That being said, I thank everybody for what they've done to help support me in that aspect. But we are talking about my time and my money. And I've spent enough time and I've spent enough money trying to figure out why I can't get this guy locked up. And the fact of the matter is, not to steal your line, Ernie, is because the government just doesn't give a fuck. Under the First Amendment, he has a right to claim all of the shit that he claims, even if I'm disgusted by it. And to continue the fighting with him is not going to solve anything. It's only going to irritate me to become something I'm not. To this day, I still kept that agreement. I don't personally go after Ernie, but if somebody calls me or asks me for information, I'm going to supply what information I had gathered up to that point. So like there was a phone call from Arkansas from the chief of police to me. They had contacted Brandy over in Madison County. Brandy gave my contact info to him, and I supplied the chief with the information he was requesting. He requested Ernie's military records. He requested a copy of Ernie's driver's license, the contact information for Cole Matthew, which is the commissioner for Tennessee. The commissioner for Kentucky's Department of Transportation, their version of a DMV. Along with the threats to murder various YouTubers, and the video of him allegedly, still alleged, driving by Miss Trader's house after making threats to throw grenades into her home. So I sent all of that information, along with various clips of him claiming to be a police officer, a detective, an investigator, working with police, and I guess that's coupled with a bunch of badges that they found. So I don't know where it's going to go, but that's the information I supplied because that's the information I had.
Right.
So as for the detective, verifying Ernie's, statuses, all he verified was Ernie submitted the same documents that we've seen Ernie submit on this platform before.
Oh, you mean the ones that were proven to be lies?
I mean, I have no idea if they're legitimate or not. All I know is that that's what he submitted to the detective, and the detective didn't really care because that wasn't part of the argument. Call from a detective that had been contacted by Ernie Shell. Ernie had filed a report, and the detective wanted to speak with me. And he had gone over some documents that Ernie had sent him and had verified them through whatever sources that the detective had. And that includes some things that I have claimed were false, in some sense of fashion false. One of them was the Trump Tower thing. And let me clarify what I mean by this. I am not in any way saying that Ernie worked directly for the Trumps. I'm saying that Ernie performed the task of security through an agency for Trump Towers, just as he did at the Kyle Rittenhouse trial for an agency. The argument was that Ernie and his associate felt that I was illegally stalking, harassing him for no reason. They had no idea who I was. That was the statements they gave. And that I obtained his documents illegally. The same documents that he claims are not his documents, folks. Which means, as far as the detective would be concerned, if you were thinking about it, they are his documents then. They do show that he didn't serve. So, I mean, I'm just stating facts. Now, I have been messaging him to turn himself in, because what I'm hearing from the chief is that this is more than just an accident that he's going to have to answer for. So I think that he should turn himself in and get it dealt with and do the right thing.
Right. I agree. He needs to turn himself in.
Well, and here's the part where people get like really confused, folks. I don't want nothing bad to happen to this dude. Like he needs help. Like he needs a secure facility for intensive treatment. There's something not right with him. Whether he's faking it or not, I'm not an expert. What I do know is this behavior is very dangerous, not just for him, but for those around him. And it's my advice, and you guys can take it for whatever it's worth. It's my advice. Do not have him on your panels and do not send him money. Because I'm telling you right now, the stuff that's going on, after talking with that chief, the shit that's going down, you don't want to be a part of that, folks. Nobody should want anything to do with that.
You know, it's getting serious, people. I mean, it's been serious, but it's getting serious. And if you're supporting him, you need to have him do the right thing and turn himself in before he gets in more trouble.
Yes, because if you think for one moment that there's not somebody monitoring what the fuck's going on, you guys are sadly mistaken. Like they know the cash apps, they know all the money, like they know everything. They got all the stuff I had, in addition to whatever other people have already sent in. And for those who hate my guts, I'm telling you right now, I write some pretty good shit. So I mean, I'll just leave it at that.
You know that cash app he has out now? That is not a new cash app, people. It's not.
Constance, I didn't know anything about that woohoo juice shit until yesterday. So no, I did not tell anything about that because I have not initiated any phone calls. If somebody calls me, I'll give information. I'm not calling people. I've been down that path before. I've seen what it did to me. It made me very angry and made me a person I'm not happy with. So I'm not going down that path. And there's the right people are doing the right things right now. The right people that are doing it correctly. They're getting the lawyers. They're doing it with integrity, heart. They're not letting anger cloud their judgments, and that's the best way to do it. Because the minute you start, like I said, guys, I'm human, man. I got angry and I was just attacking everybody. I didn't give a shit. Wrong path. That's all I know. And you know, I recognized it, and I you know, after the conversations with Ernie and the cop, I was like, you know what, I'm done. All I know is that this is more than just an accident. It's about more than just an accident. Is all I know. Which is probably why the chief wanted all that other information. But it doesn't help him having him on your panels legally and ethically. It doesn't help him. It only helps him do whatever it is he's doing now. And in the end, when the shit finally does come downhill, it's not going to be good for you or anybody else that's been helping him. You know, I don't want to see that for anybody on either side. Like, people need to. You had your fun. You had your fun. Now, wipe your hands now and walk away from him. Trust me.
Yeah,
walk away.
It's just gonna get ugly, real ugly. And folks, and I'm speaking directly to the Tigers at this moment, and the Mean Girls. If you are helping him, if you are helping him and giving him money, you could get yourself in a lot of trouble. So I suggest you quit it. That's just my opinion. Not could. You will get yourself in a lot of trouble. I'll just put it that way. So
Peachy and Ghost and Degenerate Lost, they have way more information than I do. Because again, I'm not actively involved. I just supplied information. They have a lot more than me, and when they're ready to release it, they'll release it. But they definitely have a lot more than I do. And again, I do want to say this because I think it needs to be said. Because we get so mad when we see stuff. There's people who have walked away and they still care about Ernie. I have nothing against that. I think people deserve to have people care about them to an extent. Okay. But at the same time, they recognize what's going on and they know that he's not here to get help. He's here to create chaos, and they've walked away. You have my utmost respect, because that's the hardest thing to do. So like people like Renee and Charlie and Mama T and Debo and even Tina, like, even though I like to troll Tina, you know, a lot of these people have walked away and stopped giving him support and money and things like that. Stay on that path, folks. Trust me, it's the right path, and I'm proud of it. I'm sorry if I've harmed you or yelled at you. I'm not sorry if I trolled you, because trolling is meant to be funny. Sorry, I'm not going to stop doing that, but definitely going to still troll. But for the most part, like the deliberately trying to hurt people, I don't want nothing to do with that. I don't want to be responsible for that. Sorry. If you want to call me weak, whatever. Yeah.
Well,
That's all I got.
I'm not here to go after anybody else. I'm here to make sure Ernie gets his just dues, period. Because what he's doing is wrong. And I just hate that it took me so long to see it.
No, Sally, Degenerate is not Jimbo. I can tell you 1000% that nobody that I worked with or follow are working in cahoots with James Collins.
Facts.
That costs too much money, Mr. Nobody. Because I don't get on here begging for tips and donos. So that's all. Like everything I've done was out of my pocket. Like I paid for all that shit. That shit got expensive. Funny as shit, but expensive. Like Dog and Bounty Hunter was fucking astronomical.
Oh, I bet.
But that's all I got. So nobody has any other questions, I'll let you get back to your stream, and I appreciate you letting me answer the questions. Again, guys, I said I'm out. But if people call me, if agencies call me, you got to remember I filed reports for the last year. So of course I'm gonna answer the call and I'm gonna give them what I have, or reestablish what I've done. So, but for the most part, I'm also giving them information on who to contact after me, because those are the people that are actively in the investigation.
I was kind of.
I think if you're gonna, I think I said if you're gonna just troll them, but don't have them on panels and don't be on a panel with them.
Okay. I mean, you don't have to answer if you don't want to. But is there, I always say that. I always tell everybody they don't have to answer questions.
I spoke with the chief of police that has his stuff.
Okay.
Which Ernie has threatened him numerous times now. No, that's legit.
Wow.
You guys call the chief of police, and I'm going to butcher the name, Arcadephilia. Ask for the chief of police and ask him if Ernie shall threaten him. He will tell you 100%.
Wow. So he's threatened the probation officers, and then now the chief of police in Arkansas.
He wants the chief to mail his belongings to him, and the chief said no.
Can you confirm or deny that there was a rubber chest piece in that collection?
I know that there was a tactical belt.
Yeah.
Used
and
by
badges.
And multiple badges, including one for the U.S. Marshals.
Wow.
Arkadelphia.
I would butcher it too. I'm not going to say it. Arkadelphia.
Arkadelphia. Yes. The mannequin thing that people see is a punching mannequin, I think, is what you guys see in the back of the van.
Oh, is it? 'Cause I just remember a long time ago he had a wish list and it had a chest piece, muscle suit.
Oh, okay. And according to the police that were on the scene, there was no items located in the van. Nothing was being delivered in the van.
It was empty then. I figured as much.
I mean, it wasn't empty because it had miscellaneous shit that his shit in it. There was no package to be delivered located in the van.
That's what I said.
At the scene of the accident.
Right. Ghost made it seem like Ernie was coming after anyone that had turned on him and locked their doors. And he said, and if you're walking along, look behind you or whatever. It sure seemed like the fear pouring to me, in my opinion. That's what I'm saying, El Candy. We're kind of on the same page there. I kind of was like, why put the fear in people? Because almost everybody knows how Ernie is. So I was just curious about that. And
all I know is that
I'm just curious. I just got.
All I know is not all the records are foilable as of yet, because there's still some open investigation going on, which we're not at liberty to discuss.
Right.
Okay.
But, I'm just trying to think, stuff that people was curious about or had questions about, and again, I appreciate you for answering, because I always try to tell everybody, you don't have to answer any question I have. You can just say, I'd prefer not to answer, or I can't talk about that right now. And that's what Ernie don't understand. Just because I have questions, which I'm allowed to do as a human being, we all have questions about stuff. But Ernie, this is how you answer questions. You don't run. You don't get up here and call me names or threaten me or no shit like that, because that's bullcrap. If you don't want to answer, just say I'm not going to answer. If you don't have to give me a paragraph if you want to answer. Yes or no, or fuck off. I'm not answering that.
I'm in a place now that I made a decision back in December after my lawsuit with Karen to try to fight differently on the platform in a way that I didn't jeopardize my morals. And right. that's where I've stood since then. It still doesn't mean I'm not an asshole, because depending on who I'm targeting, I could be that asshole.
Right.
But I try to do it with factual means instead of just hearsay. I need to see it and experience it in order to make a statement about it. If I can't do that, then I'm just going to let the people do what they do. I'm still going to give advice. I think it's important that we are able to have conversations even with people we don't like, because if we're just going to sit here and hate everyone and hate everything, nothing is ever going to get resolved. But at the same time, it is the drama community, and you need drama and you need hate for it to facilitate whatever it is that people are looking to get.
Right.
That's where I sit.
Right. And people on here have tried to get me to hate people. I don't hate nobody. I do not hate nobody at all.